Welcome to the Legacy Podcast, making our sustainable development goals (SDGs) more famous for action. The global gap in infrastructure is the invisible wall that keeps billions of people in the past. On the Legacy Podcast, United Nations Mama is redefining this. Infrastructure is the hardware of human rights. If you have no road, you have no access to a hospital. If you have no internet, you have no access to global knowledge. If you have no sustainable industry, you have no fix your thoughts in. Imagine a city as a living organism. The infrastructure are the roads, the bridges, the power lines, the data cables, is literally the skeleton and nervous system of that living organism. Industry is the muscle that produces what you need. Innovation is now the spark of the evolution, the DNA that allows the organism to adapt to a changing climate and a growing population. Your action priorities towards the Sustainable Development Goal 9, the industry, innovation, and infrastructure, occurs when you think infrastructure is someone else's problem, something for governments and billionaires to handle. You can solve this by realizing that innovation happens at the edges. It happens in the garage, in the lab, even in the local workshop. Localizing the Sustainable Development Goal 9 means moving from using the system to improving the system. It's about building things that are resilient enough to survive a storm or smart enough to protect our planet. I am your host, United Nations Mom, and I'm so glad you are here. Today's legacy will be to talk about the 9th Sustainable Development Goal, the industry, innovation, and infrastructure goal. For you to grab your knowledge, discover your role, and do your action. You should look at industry and innovation as more than just factories and gadgets. They are the tools we use to decouple human prosperity from environmental destruction. Realize that industry is the body, but innovation is soul. It's more like the soul. You cannot solve our 21st century problems with the 19th century infrastructure. Hear this, that every person is a potential innovator. You don't need a lab coat to innovate. You just need the courage to ask, is there a kinder way to do this? When we align our industry with the laws of nature and our innovation with the needs of humanity, we are creating a world that is not just functional but also flourishing. So grab your knowledge, discover your role, and do your action. Because the backbone of the future we are all imagining can be forged by your ideas of today and also your actions. The old industry model was linear, the model of extract, make, use, and waste. The new industry model is secular and inclusive. Look at it in this way of number one, about being about sustainable industrialization, whereby our industry is a primary source of income generation for most developing nations. However, it's also a major source of carbon emissions. So instead of tearing down old factories, we can upgrade them so that they can be more resource efficient, that is, using less water and energy per unit produced. We can make them into cleaner or with cleaner technologies like installing carbon scrubbers, switching to renewable energy, and using non-toxic chemicals. We can also make them as a system where the waste of one factory, example the excess heat or the metal, scrap metal, becomes the raw material for the neighbor next door or the factory next door. We can also focus on small and medium scale enterprises. They are the lifeblood of the economy, but they often lack the infrastructure to compete. That is, provision of giving them the infrastructure to compete or to progress means providing small workshops with loans they need to buy cleaner and more efficient machines, and also helping a local tailor or a coder globally anywhere around the world connect directly to global markets without exploitative middlemen. Innovation is often misunderstood as new technology, but is just doing something different to solve an old problem. There is a massive global gap in research and development whereby in decision of who gets to innovate. For example, high-income countries, they spend a good percentage of their earnings on research and development, while developing nations spend less. So increasing the number of researchers and scientists in every nation so that local problems get local innovative solutions is very, very much important. And we are literally currently in the middle of a massive technological shift, whereby before we were kind of focused on automation and data, that is machines talking to machines to make things faster. But now we are more focused on a human machine collaboration, that is putting the worker back or humans back at the center and using robots to do the dangerous or dull work while humans do the creative or ethical work. It's prioritizing resilience, that is asking the question, can the factory survive a pandemic, and also asking the question of sustainability, does it help the planet? So grab your knowledge, discover your role, and do your action. But to truly bridge your awareness action gap towards the Sustainable Development Goal 9, created by the United Nations, the Industry, Innovation and Infrastructure Group, you must understand what the United Nations mean or is trying to achieve by this goal. Target 9.1 and 9.8 of the United Nations Blueprint for Industry, Innovation and Infrastructure is about resilient infrastructure. The target is aiming in developing quality, reliable, sustainable and resilient infrastructure to support economic development and also human beings. The simple meaning is this. This is the foundation. It means building bridges that don't collapse in floods and internet grids that reach the most remote villages or areas. Target 9.2, 9.3 and 9.4 altogether is talking about inclusive and sustainable industrialization. The target is aiming to promoting clean industry and significantly raising industry's share of employment and integrating small-scale enterprises into value chains. The simple meaning is this. We need factories, but we don't need small. This target is about retrofitting old industries to be green and making sure small businesses have the technology they need to compete with giant ones. So in our legacy, affordable and clean energy, there we talked about our energy being clean, not just saying that we are producing energy. Is that energy killing us or actually making us to be more healthy? So when the United Nations say that they want to promote a cleaner industry, they are literally talking about or looking at that area whereby we are not just producing things that we are not producing things that will continuously harm us, but in every way they are very, very good for both our physical health and our growth all around. Target 9.5 and 9.A, 9.B and 9.C altogether is talking about innovation and research. This target is aiming to enhance scientific research and upgrading the technological capabilities of industrial sectors. It's also, the simple meaning is this: it's about spending more on research and development and ensuring that by the time 2030 arrives, everyone on the planet, on the earth, has an affordable connection to digital world. It's also aiming to provide universal access to the internet. So you have to discover your role so that you can go ahead and do your action. For the tech founder, your role is to build low bandwidth tools so that people with slow internet can still access education, markets, or go about their professional lives. For the fashion students, your role is to innovate biofabrication. That is growing something like mushrooms, like leather, from mushrooms or silk from citrus waste. For the corporate leader, your role is to retrofit your facilities for circular production, ensuring that your industrial waste becomes someone else's raw material. For the community member or for the normal citizen, your role is to advocate for better, for example, for better public transportation or digital hubs in your neighborhood. You deserve it. It's your right. You should have it. So we have to move together today on letting you know how actions you can take that will shift both your mindset and also position you to be part of a sustainable impact. Identify one thing in your neighborhood that is broken, maybe something like a cracked sidewalk or whatsoever, and report it so that it can be fixed. Check your internet speed, research why the speed it is, or know why your internet speed is actually the way it's going. Buy something today that was 3D printed or just made by that support a maker, someone that is making things maybe in their home or in their neighborhood. It must not be one big global company that you're always buying from. Buy something that someone is making from the comfort of their homes or in a small office. Don't always replace. Try to spend some of your time trying to innovate or fix for a broken item that you have instead of throwing it away or learning how to fix it. Look for a technology that you use every day and learn how it works, or something that you use every day or sometimes and learn how it works. Yes, no knowledge is wasted. And also, you can also on your meditation time try to imagine how something can be done without what is already making it happen. That is another way to make this thing happen, or another way to or another way to restructure it for the better. This is how ideas are brought up. This is how innovation is made or start. Update all your devices and use a smarter or safer or secured software. Follow that person, that innovator, that person is talking about the future of sustainability or green technology on their social media, and keep on learning, keep on being motivated, keep on upgrading your knowledge so that you can do something much better. Write down one impossible idea to solve a local problem. Help a neighbor set up digital tool like their banking or video calls, especially older men or women. Yes, you can help them, your neighborhood. Don't see that they're always struggling to get network for their calls, or their phone is always disturbing them if it's not good enough, or they just go to bank once in a while, withdraw all the money they need, maybe just because they don't have the strength. You can introduce to them smarter ways to do that, or teach them. You can also learn to perform a life cycle assessment on your favorite product. Where does it come from and where does it go? If you work in a physical office, suggest switching to LED lights. Support local manufacturing. Buy products labeled made in your own country. Emphasis on this to reduce the infrastructure strain on long distance shipping. If you're a business owner, look into what we call ISO standard. ISO 14001 is for environmental management, or ISO 50001 energy management. Yes, you cannot just be doing business and you don't know anything about environmental management, energy management, and you are just maybe even doing something that is impacting it negatively. Maybe known to you. So by the time you research into this, you know that there are laws or policies or there are regulations or there are actions to take to make your business more efficiently and positively impactful in every area. If your business has excess warehouse space or equipment, you can rent some of it to a local small business at a discount so that them too can grow. This industry innovation and infrastructure that we're talking about, we have to help our local businesses, our small and medium scale enterprises. We should not just be looking at it as something so big or far off, or just something for government, billionaires and all of that. They are the only ones industrializing, innovating. No, that is not true. And that can't be true. So change your mindset, change the way you work, and we are all going to be aiming for a better world. You can ask your favorite brand who makes their components. It's not every, let me say something like the phone you are using, it's not every part of the phone that was made by them. There are different collaborations around the world to make those parts of the phone, because one person can't have it all. There are different partnerships and resources in different countries or regions that just one nation does not have it all. So they go through all this sourcing so that just that's your phone you are carrying different components and compartments will come together as one. So you can ask them who makes and how do they handle their waste. You can also switch your business or household to packaging innovatively or compostable alternatives. Also learn to reduce industrial strength cleaners in your workplace with bio-based or non-toxic alternatives from natural alternatives. You can find a local lab or workshop and see what they are building or try to find out what kind of innovations are they aiming to build here or research are they doing here. You must not be a researcher or a scientist. Yes. Also, advocate for public Wi-Fi. Ensure your local council or village, your community is aiming in providing free Wi-Fi. Research how a product you love is actually being manufactured. Is it clean? That is the resource used. Is it clean? Is it renewable? Is it sustainable? Are they into exploitative labor or environmental degradation through their waste and so on? When you research something like this, whether you found that information disappointing or not, you should try to aim to change, like start advocating in other ways that you know that these companies can improve, or learn more into how they can improve, whether renewable energy or renewable resources, and give out that information to someone out there. Help a local shop set up an e-commerce platform or a digital system. Use public infrastructure like your train station for some of your travels for a week or a month, so that you support that. Support research and development. Donate to a university research fund or a campaign for sustainable invention, or a non-governmental organization handling that, or you set up your own. Some of these actions are actually as simple as this for your action towards promoting or bringing to pass the industry, innovation, and infrastructure sustainable development goal. This is the major reason why the negative podcast is here. Let you understand that it's not something for just government or billionaires or private enterprise, so to say. It's something that your everyday life, you can decide to incorporate. And sometimes you may already be doing some of these actions, but you don't know that they are sustainable actions, especially aligning with the global goal. So when you have a mindset shift, you are almost likely to have an action shift for a greater cause. You know this, it is being said, however you position your mind is how the direction your life will go. If you keep on doing your passions and you don't have any knowledge that this passion has a possibility of impacting so many more people, providing so many more resources on a regional scale, on a global scale, or even on a local scale, you will never, you just don't have it, and it may never be a reality for you. That global impact, that regional impact may never be a reality for you. And at some point, you may just wear off because you may feel that all this impact you are making, it may be forgotten because it's just in a small area. But when more people know about it, your records are all over the internet, your records are evident, people always remember it, and of course, opportunities that comes with it also. So note this and know that You are hearing this today for a purpose or for a reason. Moving ahead, you can also learn to talk to your workplace about creating an innovation lab or a gathering for employees' ideas. See, in a company or organization, most people have an idea of how that workplace can work better. But the major limiting factor is that probably the CEO is not ready to hear, but there's no system whereby workers or employees are allowed to make their own points, idea or perspective or better ways this should go. They are just employed, or let me say something like when you're programming someone to just come to work from 8 a.m. to 6 a.m., do the exact same thing that you told them to do. There is no room for innovation, there's no room for fresh perspectives or fresh ideas. You see, so you can be the one to bring up this fresh air in the company you work with, or if you're a CEO already, learn, change your pattern towards this direction. Keep a notebook for 1 week of of every annoyance you encounter. By Sunday or choose a day and brainstorm an innovative way to fix them. And when we mean annoyance is, let me say you walk into a store or you walk into a company or wherever you are going and you just see something that would have been done a better way, or you experience the system yourself that gets you frustrated, that gets you annoyed. Don't just, yes, it's okay to wear off that annoyance, but you can actually turn it into a sustainable turn it into something that you can choose to advocate for or choose to grow, whether professionally or personally, to change it for good. Yes, you can write down those annoyances, what the system was all about, how it annoyed you, why it annoyed you, and better ways to fix it. You can never tell the day you will need all those better ways that you have written down, or where you maybe where you are positioned, or a particular work you are applying for, and all this knowledge are needed to see how you think. And it actually can also help the way you think, your brain, and improve it. Don't just be feeding your brain with only the bad and the frustrations. Also teach it how to reposition and create innovation even without you forcing it. If you are an older person, ask a Gen Z person to teach you a new digital skill, or a more informed young person. If you are younger, you can also choose to teach a senior. Let's stop this age limits and so on and so on. An older person, a younger person can teach an older person, and older person and a younger person can also teach an older person. Okay, how do I say this now? A younger person can teach an older person, and an older person can also teach a younger person. Yes. And this is not just about age, I'm talking about also in knowledge. If you know more as a younger person, you can teach someone older than you. If you know more as an older person, you can teach someone younger than you. You must not always be going for your age level or your work level. You can choose to mentor someone, whether you are working at, you own a company or organization, or you're already a big personality or so, or whatever. You can choose to mentor someone in a lower level and also teach them how to come up to that, as long as it's also what they are passionate about. If you design anything, ensure it can be taken apart and also recycled easily. We are no more in the use and waste or dump culture. We are the culture whereby everything can literally be recycled into something better or more. Always be curious. Ask why this is done, whether at your job place or at least once a day, about someone or about a thing. We have the use of generative AI now, artificial intelligence. You can ask it why this is done, how it is done, and at least once a day you have to spark the process or the plug of innovation in you to gain knowledge. Read a magazine or watch a video about an industry completely different from yours, and so on. Invest in infrastructure bonds, that is, move some of your savings into greener, if you are in the agric industry, greener agriculture, that is more use of renewable energy or organic sources agriculture that is sustainable. And also you can also, if you are in the manufacturing or transportation industry and so on, just look for how to invest some of your funds in something that is heading towards sustainability and renewability. Support policies that use data to reduce traffic and energy waste in your city. Support organizations that provide internet to remote areas. If you are a parent or mentor, teach a child to take something apart and see how it works. See the system behind how that thing works. If you invent something, consider what we call the Creative Commons to allow for a global use. You can also support construction methods that allow buildings to be easily repurposed or recycled. Support logistics startups that focus on getting goods to remote locations or locations that are not too popular or have been developed, or you can even ignore in the map. You can also support laws that protect personal data as a fundamental part of digital infrastructure. And if you are a CEO or not just a CEO, an owner of a startup that requires people inputting their personal data, please do not sell it. Store it and keep it safe. Because the reason why people put their data or entrust their data to your site or startup is not because they want it to be used, it's because they need something or the service you are providing. So don't betray them in such ways as that. You can also set up a prize or a grant for local innovation in your hometown or your community. Or if you can't do it, you support organizations that are doing it already. Almost in every industry, yearly there are NGOs, there are callers for applications, for innovative ideas, for innovative solutions, and for competitions and so on, to help both the young and the aged. You can build something. Your ultimate action, should be building something that outlasts you, whether it is a piece of code, a physical building, or a new way of doing business. Ensure that it is resilient, inclusive, and kind. Share this legacy, industry, innovation, and infrastructure from the Legacy Podcast to someone else today, to let them know that they can be part of something greater in a purpose. Last but not the least, you can choose to support political candidates who promise, and not only promise, in every way and in every aspect. You are seeing that they are aiming to increase the research and development, the government spending on research and development, scientific research and development for every sector or industry in your nation. Yes, The government, a working government is also a working people. When the government works, the people also work in every way possible that you can think of. A failed government leads to more like a failed nation. The people will be trying their best in every way they can, but in that every way they can, there are systems also stopping them from progressing or advancing. So a working government is a prosperous nation and people. Your awareness action gap in sustainable development unite industry, innovation, and infrastructure closes when you realize that innovation is the only way to do more with less. You cannot grow the world if you keep using the old brittle tools of the past. You have to believe that infrastructure is not just about concrete and steel. It is the geometry of hope. It is the bridge you can build to connect the now to the future. When you innovate, you are not just making things, you are creating a path. You have now grasped your knowledge, discovered your role, now do your action. Stay connected to the Legacy Podcast.